So without further ado, Daniel Goldin.
Well, first I'd like to tell you how honored I am. I'm talking to the students now. We have wonderful people in the room, but this is about you. And there are many things I could talk about, but today what I'd like to talk about is vision. From the time I was 7 years old, I knew with certainty that I wanted to be an astronaut and fly in space. I thought about it, I was passionate about it. I built planes, I built jet cars as I was growing up. And I knew with certainty that was going to be my future. But as I look back now, the key to the future, in my mind, is to have a vision, to know where you want to get to, and then work backwards and figure out the steps that it takes, and recognize life is difficult and painful, and you have to be flexible because things are going to change. After I graduated from engineering school at the City College in New York, I went to an Air Force base, and I took a test because I wanted to be an Air Force pilot, and then I knew if you're an Air Force pilot, you could then apply to NASA and become an astronaut. I took the written test, which was a piece of cake for me, but I failed the eye test. And the doctor said to me, "You're so blind, not only can't you not fly a plane, we won't take you as an officer in the Air Force." It was okay, because within 2 days I decided that I was going to design the systems that would enable people to travel to the planets. And the only place that I interviewed for my first job was NASA. The day I started, they were doing Apollo. I was designing a mission to Mars for 8 astronauts. This is in '62. I'm old. To get 8 astronauts to Mars in 1979 using plasma propulsion and nuclear power. And that fell apart because America lost its desire to do wild and crazy things. So I left, and I ended up being an executive. I ran one of the largest space activities that developed spacecraft for civil use and defense. I even had an opportunity to design anti-ballistic missiles to protect people from bad people that are trying to do bad things. So let me have my first picture. That's me when I was 13. That's my grandfather, who came here from Europe with a shirt on his back. We were very modest, we had very little money, but I had a grandfather and a father that helped me understand vision and execution and never giving up. Before I was appointed NASA administrator, the Cold War was over. I spent 25 years of my career developing defense systems to protect America and the people around the world from the Soviet threat. I feel I changed the world. And then all of a sudden, peace broke out. And Russia became what looked like a new democratic country. And at that time, I was going to start a wireless company. And I got half the bandwidth for a new wireless system, and I was having visions of money and billions and trillions. And on the plane coming back, I called my office, and my assistant said, "You just got a call from the White House." I said, "What did I do wrong?" You know, you're driving down the freeway and you see a cop in the rearview mirror, you're not violating the speed limit, you step on the brakes. And it turned out President Bush wanted me to be the next NASA administrator. I didn't want to take the job, but they gave me the hug of life. And I showed up at NASA, and I'm told the Hubble telescope is blind, it's myopic, and has an astigmatism. Figure out how to fix it, and you have to do an optical prescription from the ground while it's going 17,000 miles an hour around the Earth. And then I was told by the chairman of the Appropriations Committee, "We're going to fire you if you don't fix it." Now, there's real good encouragement, isn't it? In any case, we pulled it off. We absolutely pulled it off. And there isn't time to talk about the details, but basically, one of the ways we pulled it off is we had a vision of the Hubble fix. And by the way, the contact lens was the size of a telephone booth, for those that remember what it is, weighed about 1,000 pounds. We had a vision of what it would look like when it got complete, and we stepped backwards until we got to the point of what's the first thing we're going to do, what's the second thing we're going to do, what's the third thing we're going to do. And because we set the right priorities, we ended up early, and the rest was history. Could I have the next slide? And if you remember one thing from what I say today, it's this message from Michelangelo, who has been my inspiration. He was a famous sculptor, an artist, and scientist. But when asked, how do you build such beautiful statues and carvings, he said, I saw the angel in the marble, and I carved until I set him free. You understand that? So he didn't start hacking away, which is what many, many people do in life to get to an end point. He said, here's the end point. I understand where I want to get, so let me step back and see the steps I have to take, and I got to be prepared in case the chisel goes the wrong way. This has governed my life for decades. I saw the angel in the marble, and I carved till I set him free.